6/29. Does that sound about the right date that you purchased the Chevy Silverado?
Um, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. No reason to believe that the date in the sales contract is false or inaccurate in any way, right?
No, no, no reason.
Okay. And next to the buyer's signature after the X, that's your signature, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Prior to purchasing the Silverado from my Chevrolet, did you go to any other dealerships to look at Silverados or GMCs? I mean, I know you were looking at the GMC, but any other Silverados?
No, I don't believe so. No.
All right. And prior to going to the dealership, my Chevrolet, on 6/29/21, had you already picked out a couple Silverados from their website that they were showing in their inventory, or did you just go to the dealership and? All right. And prior to going to the dealership, my Chevrolet, on 6/29/21, had you already picked out a couple Silverados from their website that they were showing in their inventory, or did you just go to the dealership and see what they had there?
I would stop by the dealership and see what they had there.
All right. Prior to actually purchasing the Silverado from my Chevrolet on 6/29/21, um, how many times would you say you'd been to the dealership to look at vehicles?
Uh, Several times. I mean, um, probably stick 5 to 10 times.
Okay. Were you looking for a specific package or color? What was the reason for going back and forth so many times?
At the time, I believe there was like a chip shortage or something, so there wasn't very many vehicles available.
Oh. All right. So on June 29th, 2021, when you went into my Chevrolet, at that time, had you already picked out the vehicle you wanted to purchase, or did they just happen to have one that you liked and were like, that's the one I want to buy?
Um, they just happened to have one that I liked, and I was gonna, yeah.
All right. And did you take the Silverado for a test drive on June 29th before you purchased it?
Yeah, I believe I did.
Okay. And do you recall how long that the test drive was?
Um, Maybe 5, 10 minutes. Not super long.
Yeah. Okay. Do you recall if you got on a highway or just stayed on city streets?
That I do not recall.
Yeah. All right. So you drive to my Chevrolet, you park your car, get out. Were you initially immediately greeted by a salesperson, or did you get out and kind of walk around first by yourself?
Um, I believe I walked around for a second before a salesperson saw me.
All right. And had you seen the vehicle you ended up purchasing before a salesperson actually greeted you?
Um, I don't recall. No, I don't recall.
When you test drove the vehicle, do you recall any issues with the Silverado at that time?
No.
All right. So after taking it for a test drive, I imagine you went back inside and started talking numbers. And sales price, or they told you this is what it is, and the cash price that was listed is $57,525 here on page 2 of the sales contract. Is that about right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right. Uh, and then it doesn't look like you purchased any additional service contracts or warranties, correct?
No.
Okay. But you did trade in your 2015 Toyota Tacoma at that time, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the net trade-in value for the Tacoma that they gave you was $13,000.
Yes.
All right. And then if we look over here on the left-hand side, uh, it looks like uh, you received a $5,000 rebate from the manufacturer, from General Motors.
Um, yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And then just below that, it looks like you put down an additional $2,000. Does that sound about right?
I believe it was $20,000.
20? I'm sorry. Yes, it does look like there should be a comma there. Yeah. $20,000, correct?
Yes.
All right. My apologies. Oh, and so after the purchase price, taxes, title, registration, and other processing fees, and your down payment, it looks like you financed $25,639.68. Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right.
All right. Uh, did you end up financing the uh, Silverado through GM financing?
I believe so, but then I think how it worked is I financed it through GM and then um, went through refinanced it through my bank,
Okay, and who's your bank?
Coastal Federal Credit Union.
Okay. And so at the time that you purchased the Silverado, it looks like your payment was approximately $399.32. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
What's your payment on the Silverado now through Coast Health?
I believe it's around the same price, maybe a little bit less.
Okay. You got a pretty decent interest rate there at 3.79. I take it Coast Health gave you a little bit better deal?
Um, yeah, I can't remember I don't remember what the percentage rate was. It was more a convenience thing.
Got it. All right. And when you refinanced, how long after you purchased the Silverado did you refinance? Was it the same year? A couple years later?
I don't recall. Um, I believe it might have been around the same year,
Okay.
maybe the following year. I'm not sure. Like I said, I can't really remember.
All right. And uh since you've owned the Silverado, have you made all your payments on time?
Yes.
And I take it you're the one responsible for actually making the payment on the Silverado, correct?
Um, well, yes, we have a joint account, and it comes out automatically.
Okay. So you don't actually have to push a button.
No.
Okay.
And nothing but the truth. If you've heard that before, you've probably participated in what's called a deposition. A deposition is a chance for any party in litigation to get information from witnesses and parties. What does this mean? It means that the other side, if you're suing or you're being sued, can ask you questions under oath that can then be used later on at trial if need be. Whether they read it into the record or they impeach you, meaning they catch you in a lie, using that deposition testimony. So it sounds like this big scary thing, but really a deposition is just you, your attorney, the attorney for the other party, and a court reporter sitting in a room, or in the days of COVID, on Zoom, and the attorney for the other side is asking you questions and you're answering them, and the court reporter is taking everything down. Now, it is really important to know that this is under oath. So anything you say is impeachable and it subjects you to perjury. I always tell my clients there are 3 top rules to deposition. Number 1, only answer the question that's asked. Somebody asks you what happened on this date, tell them what happened on that date. Don't go into an entire story about, well, the week before and then after that we did this, that, and anything. No, do not do that. Only answer the question that is asked. So stick to whatever they're asking and don't volunteer information. Make the other attorney work for it. It's that attorney's job to get the information that they need. It's not your job to give them the information. And honestly, more times than not, when my client thinks they're being helpful to themselves and giving information they think it's going to make their case better by volunteering information, it almost always does not make the case better, and sometimes it makes the case worse. So just always answer the question that's asked. Second tip is to say you don't know if you don't know. A deposition is purely, if you're a fact witness, a deposition is purely to get your facts of what happened, to get your version of the story, to get what you actually know and what you could potentially testify to later on. So if you don't know, for sure know something, say I don't know. It's a perfectly acceptable answer. You don't have to guess or rely on other people, and definitely don't lie. But if you don't know, I don't know. And a really great trick of attorneys is when somebody says I don't know, the attorney then offers an answer. Oh, well, so for example, if the attorney says, what day did this happen? And you say, I don't know, because you really don't remember, or I don't recall, I don't remember, something like that, I don't know. And the attorney says, well, do you think it was May 20th? Oh yeah, it could have been May 20th. Bam, they just locked you into an answer. Don't do that. If you don't know, say I don't know. If you get asked the same question again, which you will, say it again, I don't know. They'll move on. And third, defer to your experts. If you are getting asked questions and you don't know the answers and it seems technical and just beyond what your knowledge of something is, defer to your experts. Oh, well, my so-and-so said this, my contractor said this, or my adjuster said this, or you probably should ask my engineer this, you should probably ask my expert this. What you do not have to talk about is what your attorney said. Anything you and your attorney discuss is covered by what's called the attorney-client privilege, so you never have to get that information, anything you guys talked about. So leave that at home, but you can defer to other people if you don't know the answer. If you get something asked something that's technical or something that is beyond your scope, you can say, hey, ask this person. They might know the answer. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to know the answer to everything. If you do get asked to participate in a deposition in a lawsuit, or you're asked to do an examination under oath or recorded statement, anything that is recorded or under oath, taken by the other side, or in my case by the insurance company, make sure you have an attorney there to prep you, to be on your side, because there will be an attorney for the other side taking any kind of statement or examination under oath or deposition. And you want to make sure that you are also well represented so that your interests are protected.
I'll go ahead and mark as Exhibit 4. This is a partial payment history from, looks like Coast Health Federal Credit Union. I'll put it up on my screen. Can you see it there?
Oh, let me make it bigger.
Do you need me to zoom in at all?
No, I could zoom in on my end. Okay, I can see it.
All right. So just to be clear, so here it looks like the monthly payments that are coming out all total $386.80. Does that sound like the payment for the Silverado?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. You still owe a balance on the Silverado, correct?
Yes.
All right, so you haven't paid it off.
No.
No. All right, before we take a quick break, I'll get into more details about some of the issues you are alleging you've had with the Silverado. But can you do me a favor? Can you just kind of list them out for me in bullet point form? And then after we take a short break, we'll discuss them in more detail as to what was actually going on.
Yeah. So I had an issue with the starter.
Okay.
Was starting the vehicle.
Okay.
And then I had several issues with the exhaust system.
Okay.
And I believe there was another issue with some kind of fan. Again, I'm not a mechanic person, guy, so it was some kind of fan is what they told me.
Okay. Yeah. And feel free to use layman's terms. I'm not, nobody's here to trick you. I understand you're not a mechanic. Neither am I. So that's perfectly fine. So we got a starter, several exhaust issues, a fan issue, anything else?
And then, I mean, well, the engine light comes on periodically because of those issues. That would be the only thing I would have to say.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you can remember as we sit here before we take a quick break?
I know that the vehicle went into like I think the guy at the shop called it like limp mode or something one time when I was driving it. Again, that was because of something with the engine light.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll get into that more detail. Why don't we go ahead and take 5? Take a quick break, give the court reporter a chance to rest for a second, and then we'll come back and delve into that a little bit more, okay? So how about 3:15?
Sounds good.
All right, thanks. Off the record.
What's the nature of your objection, Mr. Shellhorn?
Judge, I think there was a question there suggesting that the attack, the dog bite, and I think there was something else was going on before any shots were fired. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
I don't even know what
Exactly.
I don't even know what the factual basis is for that.
Judge, I can ask a witness.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Not without a factual basis. You just can't ask for speculation. That's what you're asking for.
I'm asking you a question whether or not,
There's no evidence that it happened before. None.
Judge.
Not a scintilla
I believe.
of evidence on the record so far
So if
that
a wit-
supports that question.
If a witness says that something happened, I can't ask them if.
You've asked them 500 questions about what happened, about her recollection of it, which is fine. Now you're asking, well, are you sure it didn't happen before? You have no basis to ask
Judge,
that.
her recollection is horrible.
No, it's not.
She's changed her story over and over.
It doesn't matter.
again.
It doesn't,
It's-
Mr. Belinkus, it does not allow you to suggest to this jury to engage in speculation, which is what you're doing. Your client doesn't remember the incident,
Judge, just-
according to the expert reports. So that's not a factual basis for you.
Judge,
And there's nothing in this record to suggest that any of this happened, the beating, the phone, the dog bite before. In fact, we have a 911 call where it's patently obvious that the dog is in the area because it is incessantly barking and heard over the 911 call, which is after the shooting. So you need a factual basis. That is black letter law 101.
my factual basis, Judge, is that these people, both Cataract and Goodwin, have a motive to lie with regards to what happened. They filed a lawsuit, there's hostility, and
But again, even assuming all that's true,
so why?
there's no evidence in the record That's like saying, well, isn't it true that a stranger drove down the road when Michael Barrasone was there and got out of his car, and the stranger was the one that actually shot you, not Mr. Barrasone? That's the same situation. There's no evidence in the record that that happened. You're just trying, you're trying to create in the jury's mind some alternate issue without any facts in the record to support it. Now, if Mr. Barrasone were going to testify about something, that's different. But the experts have said he doesn't remember anything about the incident.
Understood, Judge, but again, whatever ruling you make, obviously, I abide by. But in this particular case, this witness's testimony, as well as her boyfriend, which are basically the only two pieces of evidence.
No, and the 911 call,
Okay.
which lays out exactly what happened immediately after the shooting.
Immediately after the shooting, and I believe I can question the timing of the shooting based on their inconsistent statement, their motivation to lie.
No, you're not going to, not to create some alternate universe scenario without something in the record.
Well, I can't get anything in the record, Judge, unless I could ask these questions.
No, there's plenty in the record so far. There's plenty in the record so far, but nothing in the record to show that the beating, the dog bite, and everything happened before the shooting.
Well, Mr. Goodwin is going to testify, Judge, that Mrs.
Well,
Cataract disappeared for a significant period
All right,
of time.
well then ask him that. Ask him that question.
It's implausible for someone to
It
be
doesn't-
shot.
Mr. Blinkus, I can't predict what's going to go on the record in the future when other witnesses testify. If the scenario changes, then you can ask it then. At this point in time, there's nothing in the record to suggest the scenario that you want to ask in a question for the jurors. There's not.
Judge, okay.
That's my ruling. End of it. All right. I'll go off the record now because you have to...
So back on the record. All right, so I'm showing an issue with the starter, the exhaust, the fan, and the engine light. What was the first issue that presented itself with the vehicle?
I believe it was the start.
And how long after you purchased the Silverado did you have an issue with the starter?
I don't remember the exact time frame, but it was it wasn't very long after I purchased the vehicle. I would say maybe within the first year for sure.
All right. And what were you experiencing with the starter when it was having issues?
So I would press the button to start it, and the engine would go to turn over, and that sound it makes when the engine turns, it would just continually do that, and I wouldn't be able to stop it. So like I would try to turn the vehicle off, or to stop it, and the button wouldn't work, and then it would eventually, after a while, would finally stop.
Can you give me kind of a rough estimate? Are we talking like 30 seconds to a minute to 5 minutes?
I would say 30 seconds to a minute. Pressing the button to try to stop the engine from turning over.
Okay. And when that would happen, would you eventually get the vehicle to turn over after it would go through that sequence of events?
Yes.
And I imagine you took the vehicle into you took the vehicle to my Chevrolet to have it repaired, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I assume you took the vehicle, the Silverado, into my Chevrolet for the starter issue, correct?
The first time, yes.
All right. How many times have you taken it to my Chevrolet for the starter issue?
I know I took it the initial time, and then it happened a couple other times at the same time as having the exhaust issues, I believe, and I would bring it up when they were doing doing the exhaust issues.
Do you still have issues with the starter as of today?
I don't recall the last time I had an issue with the starter, but then again, I don't drive the vehicle very often anymore.
Mm-hmm. Did you have an issue with the starter in the summer of 2025 when you drove to Nevada?
Don't believe so. No.
Okay. When was the last time you drove the Silverado?
Last time I drove it was a week or two ago to work.
And I take it when you're not driving the Silverado, you're driving the Tesla. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when did you purchase the Tesla?
I purchased the Tesla in September, I believe, or October. September. September or October.
Okay. All right. And what was explain to me what was sorry, going back to the starter real quick. How often would you experience this sequence of issues with the starter when it was occurring? Like, was it every single time that you went to start the vehicle? Was it once?
No, it was random.
Did you take any pictures or videos of the starter issue when it would occur?
No.
Tell me what was going on with the exhaust. What were you experiencing with the exhaust issue?
Well, with the exhaust issue, the engine light would come on, and I would take it in, and they would scan it and say that's what it was.
Okay. And did they tell you what was going on with the exhaust?
Um, I, I I believe the words that they put it in was something about the DEF system.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you know if they made a repair to correct the exhaust issue that you were experiencing so that the check engine light wouldn't come on?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And in 2025, have you experienced the check engine light come on?
Yes.
When was the last time?
It came on a couple months ago for um, a couple days, and then it turned off by itself.
Did you take the Silverado into my Chevrolet when it turned on a couple months ago?
Um, I drove it to my Chevrolet, and they weren't able to get me in, and when I on my way home, it turned off. So
And when you would experience the exhaust issue where it would trigger the check engine light, would the check engine light go off by itself, or would it stay on until you took it to the dealership?
it would typically stay on until I took it to the dealership.
All right, but with the exhaust, it's not like you weren't hearing any weird noises or anything like that, were you?
No.
Okay. All right. And then explain to me what was going on with the fan. What were you experiencing?
The fan was just like the I would I would hear the fan going, kind of this fan sound all the time, and to be honest, I don't recall if it was in conjunction with one of the exhaust issues or one of the other issues that I brought it up. Um, but yeah, they were able to look into it, and that they told me it was something to do with the fan. For some reason, wouldn't shut off. I don't recall the exact lingo.
Have you had an issue with the fan in the last year?
Um, no.
All right. And then just to be clear, the check engine light was kind of tied to the exhaust and potentially fan issue thing. That sequence of events, it was all tied together, so it wasn't like a separate check engine light and then it was something else, correct?
Calls for expert opinion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And then the limp mode, that's something the dealership told you. You didn't actually see a warning sign on your dashboard that said, reduced power or some other message along those lines, correct?
No, I believe it said reduce. I believe it said actually, I believe it did say reduce power or something. There was a message on the dashboard. I believe. I can remember.
Was that warning message associated with any of these other issues occurring at the same time? So like the starter, the exhaust, the fan?
Same objection. Go ahead.
I believe at that time it was with the exhaust, if I remember correctly.
When you would take the vehicle into my Chevrolet for service, I imagine you'd pull up to the service lane, whether you had an appointment or not. You'd be greeted by somebody. They'd ask you why you're bringing the vehicle in, and you would explain all the issues you were having with the Silverado, correct?
Yes.
And then when you would pick up the Silverado after they diagnosed it, potentially repaired it, and so on and so forth, they would give you a repair order, and would they explain to you what they found and what they did to try and remediate the issue if they could?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And did you keep all those repair orders?
I probably have them around here somewhere, but I did recently just go and ask for all my repair orders.
But prior to today's deposition, you didn't actually go look to see if you had all of them. You just asked for a repair history.
Yes.
I will go ahead and mark as Exhibit 5. This is the repair history that you requested. I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen.
And you also do the dialysis work?
I do.
Is that full-time?
What do you mean by full-time?
Well, it typically means 40 hours a week, something like that.
I wish I worked 40 hours a week, and so does my family.
So the question's still out there. Do you work?
I work a great deal of hours every week.
Okay, how many hours do you work in dialysis?
And, I'm not being glib, but the real answer is I see every patient every week, and I work as long as I need to. It's variable. Sometimes it's many, many hours. Sometimes it's less hours.
Approximately how many hours a week do you work in dialysis?
I don't know. I couldn't quantify that, sir. I don't keep track of that.
You can't give me a range?
I really can't. I honestly, I don't count them. I don't track them.
Is there a reason why it's so difficult for you to answer my questions and it was so easy for you to answer Mr. Chernoff's?
Objection argumentative. Sustained. You need not respond. Your next question, Mr. Wall?
You can't answer how many hours you work in dialysis. Is that correct?
What you're asking me is extremely nonspecific, and I'm telling you honestly, I don't measure.
How many hours did you work in dialysis last week?
I don't know.
I was specific.
I was at the dialysis unit Monday morning and afternoon, Tuesday for a few hours, Friday for a few hours. That's my typical week. Sometimes I go on Thursdays, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go on Tuesdays, sometimes I don't.
Would you agree that in the field of addiction medicine, that it needs to be confronted as a real clinical disease with very real clinical roots?
It's absolutely a brain disease, and it needs to be treated as such.
And that's one of the reasons why, to competently handle it, you should have experience to handle it, correct?
I believe you're exactly correct. Experience is really important.
And from the Cliffside Malibu website, where your picture is posted, it states, as is true of any disease, addiction can only be overcome with intensive medical specialized care.
Which is provided at Cliffside Malibu, not by Dr. Waldman all the time.
But you agree with that assessment?
I think it's a great assessment.
And you, of course, in your experience, have had patients come to you that had previously received subpar or incompetent addiction care and then came to you and you were able to help them, correct?
Your words, sir, not mine.
I'm sorry, are you going to?
I have no answer. I think I never made such statement.
I didn't ask you if you made that statement. I'm asking you a question.
No, you're actually putting the words in my mouth. Would you
Your Honor, would the court instruct the witness to answer the question?
Thank you. Cross-examination is, in essence, putting words in your mouth which you can either accept or reject.
I reject.
Okay.
So you have never had a patient come to you that you determined had received incompetent care and you were subsequently able to help them. You've never had that happen?
Sir, I never embellish what I do by denigrating what one of my colleagues does. Addiction treatment, casting dispersion at prior treatment, it's not necessary. When somebody comes to me for treatment, many times they've had prior treatment. Their success or failure of treatment is not a function of who treated them. It's a serious illness. Failure rate is twice the success rate everywhere.
So now, it's not a function of who treated them. That plays no role?
What I said to you in answer to your question again, sir, is that when I accept somebody in treatment, I don't speak negatively about their prior treatment.
I didn't ask you to.
Yes, you did, or the treatment providers.
Okay. Mr. Waldman, have you ever had Dr. Waldman, have you ever had someone come to you and you've had an opportunity to review their prior care? Have you ever had that happen?
What do you mean by review their prior care?
However you want to interpret it.
You're asking the question, sir. If you ask me a specific
Your Honor, will the
question.
court instruct the witness to answer the very simple question?
Are you able to, or do you want it re-asked?
I would like it re-asked, please.
Mr. Walgren?
Have you ever, by any means, whatever you want to put into your answer, have you ever had a patient come to you where you evaluated, by whatever means you want to say, Dr. Waldman, where you've evaluated their prior care as it relates to addiction medicine?
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever had a situation where you did such an evaluation and determined that they did not receive proper care as it relates to addiction medicine?
Yes.
There. Thank you. And when you've had those situations where you determined they had not received proper care as it relates to addiction medicine, have you, as a specialist, been able to help them?
Sometimes, I'm sure I have.
Thank you.
And I'm also going to mark the record because if you have the repair orders, those should be produced to your attorneys so they can produce them to our office. What? Can you see my screen? Do you need me? And let me know if you need me to zoom in at all.
Yeah, I see your screen.
All right. So the first repair repair order, or at least repair history of a repair order that's listed here, is dated October 13, 2021. Does that sound like the first time you brought the vehicle, the Silverado, into my Chevrolet for any type of service?
Um, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. And any reason to believe that the mileage that's listed here is 5,453 miles is inaccurate?
Um, no reason to believe that. No.
Okay. All right. And then if we look down below, right here, where it says complaints, not actually a complaint, looks like you brought the vehicle in for a oil change and filter change, correct?
Yeah, most likely, yes, probably.
All right. There's no other complaints listed in there, so do you believe you were experiencing any of the issues we just discussed as of October 13, 2021?
Not that I know of, no.
And just for the record, the document that's been marked as Exhibit 5 reads bottom to top. So from page 8 to page 1 in chronological order. All right. Let's see here. So then we get to the bottom of page 7, and it looks like the next time that the Silverado was brought into my Chevrolet was on March 9, 2022. Does that sound about right?
Um, yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. And the mileage now is listed as 10,515 miles. Any reason to believe that's inaccurate?
No.
Okay. All right. And then under complaints, again, this isn't really a complaint at all, but instead the vehicle was brought in for another oil change, oil and filter change. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And no other complaints are listed. So do you believe that this is missing any complaints we discussed earlier?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, counsel. You mean for the whole visit or strictly for job line 1?
No, it goes down to the next page. All right. So the first complaint was, well, it wasn't a complaint. It was oil change. If we scroll down to page 8, now it says under this second complaint, customer reports when starting vehicle will not start. Will have to continue pressing button, possibly getting stuck. Check and advise. Does that sound like the starter problem that we discussed earlier?
Yes.
All right. And do you know how long before this visit you had experienced the starter issue?
I know I don't really recall.
All right. Are you the type of person that when you experience an issue with your vehicle, you try to take it in right away, or is it something where?
That's usually how I do it. Yes.
All right. So based on that, would this have occurred or started within, let's say 2 weeks of you bringing the vehicle in?
Yeah, I would think so. That like I said, that's usually how I would handle something like that.
All right. And what did they tell you was wrong with the Silverado after they after they took a look at it?
I honestly I don't recall. I think they just said they maybe I don't know if they changed out the starter. I don't really remember.
All right. And if we look here, the repair history says that the button was broken, stuck and broken. Does that sound? Do you recall them explaining that to you?
I don't recall. No, I mean, I just remember they said that they fixed it and then it shouldn't happen again.
All right. Do you recall them telling you that they actually had to order the part so they couldn't repair it at that visit?
No, I don't recall that either.
All right. So do you believe this repair history right here is not accurate?
I honestly, I just remember taking it in, and I don't remember. I don't remember having to bring it in. But if that's what it says, then I guess that's what happened. It was kind of a long time ago. I don't really remember.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand whether you're alleging that this is false and you have a different understanding of what happened, or if you just don't recall and this is possibly what happened. You just don't have a recollection of it. Does that
That's yeah. That sounds about right. Like I said, I don't remember the exact how it all panned out, but I remember they did end up fixing it at some point.
No.
At the time.
All right, and then now there's no other complaints listed for the March 9th, 2022 visit. Do you believe this repair history is missing any of the other complaints we discussed earlier at the time?
Can you ask the question again? I didn't
Yeah. So all that we have listed here for the March 9th, 2022 visit is an oil change and the starter button issue. Do you believe this repair history is missing any other complaints you had with the vehicle at that time?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. And then I didn't ask this, but I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. Do you recall if you paid anything out of pocket for the 10/13/2021 oil change?
For the oil change?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming I did. I don't remember. I don't remember not paying for oil changes unless that was part of. But I'm assuming I paid something for the oil change. I can't really remember.
Okay. Because sometimes General Motors or the dealership will give you a few free oil changes, or at least the first one free, and you don't recall if that was the case.
I don't recall, no.
Okay. All right. Do you recall paying anything out of pocket for the March 9th, 2022 visit?
I don't recall, no.
All right. And this isn't against you, Mr. Scotch, but just for the record, I'm going to state that that's information that's generally contained within the regular repair orders, which for these visits weren't produced. All right, so let's move on. Now, all right, and just to be clear, do you believe you had taken the Silverado into any other dealership or my Chevrolet between March 9th, 2022 and 10/13/2021 that's not listed in this repair history?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. And so then if we scroll up to the bottom of page 6, the next repair visit, or I'd say just visit to my Chevrolet was on June 17th, 2022. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I guess.
Trying to find a case of Nicoletti versus Stevens, case number 0672172PH.
Next, we take you inside the Oakland County Circuit Court near Detroit, Michigan. The judge is Martha Anderson.
May it please the court, Your Honor. Paul Nicoletti appearing on behalf of myself.
That's attorney Paul Nicoletti, who's in court because of an ongoing feud with a former client, Karen Stevens.
Good afternoon, Judge. Karen Stevens, in pro per for my motion for sanctions against Mr. Nicoletti for this vexatious and frivolous PPO.
Stevens claims Nicoletti has petitioned the court for a personal protection order against her over accusations of stalking. She's here to fight the order and try to bring sanctions against Nicoletti.
My motion for sanctions against Mr. Nicoletti for this vexatious and frivolous PPO.
I'm sorry, on his what?
I have a motion for sanctions against...
I know that. And the purpose of the sanctions are based on what?
It was a frivolous and vexatious PPO based on nonsense. I am not stalking Mr. Nicoletti.
I haven't signed a PPO.
Just to clarify, the personal protection order that Stevens is referring to has not even been issued.
His petition for a PPO. Let me...
Okay, were you served?
No, I wasn't, but may I...
No, you may not. How can you ask to sanction someone when you haven't even been served?
That's the point.
Stevens, do not interrupt me when I'm speaking, ma'am.
I have a constitutional right to be heard.
On what basis? There is no case before me, ma'am, other than the fact that you filed this frivolous motion, taking up this court's time for no good reason other than your own personal vendetta against this man. I did not issue a PPO. And here you are taking up my time so that you want me to chastise him and make him pay money? No, ma'am. Your relief is denied, and in addition to that, I am sanctioning you with costs of $500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So not only does Stevens fail to get sanctions against Nicoletti, but she's hit with a $500 fine of her own. Unhappy with the decision, she has some choice words for the judge.
I knew it was fixed.
I beg your pardon?
I knew it was fixed.
Miss Stevens, I highly suggest that you just exit my courtroom and go pay the sanctions before I find you in contempt.
But the story doesn't end there. Due to a clerical mistake, Stevens is back before Judge Anderson 4 months later.
Good morning. May it please the court, Karen Stevens?
Ms. Stevens, the last time you appeared in court, the court ordered that you pay $500 in costs. The clerk's office made a mistake with respect to your credit card, and only $5 was assessed as opposed to the $500. When the clerk's office attempted to correct the mistake they made, you basically objected to your credit card company, and that brings you here today. Do you have the $495 that this is the balance owed?
I have my credit card, but I did file an objection and an answer to this order to show cause that wasn't properly served, didn't have an affidavit of merit.
Looks like Stevens still wants to discuss the protection order, but Judge Anderson isn't having it.
Ms. Stevens, do you have $495 with which to pay today?
I just said I have my credit card. I do not have cash.
Very well then, Ms. Stevens. You may go down to the clerk's office, pay $495 forthwith to take care of the $500 that this court assessed you the last time you were here.
But Karen Stevens isn't one to go quietly.
I'm entitled to know what statutes or court rules you rely on to sanction me in the first place. That's part of due process.
Ms. Stevens, do you wish to comply with my request, or do you wish me to find you...
Is it a court order? I need a court order.
Ms. Stevens, my clerk will call down to the clerk's office and let them know you are coming.
There will be no court orders, what you're saying?
Ms. Stevens, please do as I've directed you to do. Thank you.
Stevens ultimately lost her feud with the judge and Nicoletti. She was not only ordered to pay the fine she owed the court, but Nicoletti's attorney's fees as well.
It was fixed.
Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.